Most people in life have wired their brain where it's really, really hard to feel good. Because they're going to do like all these things to feel good and really easy to feel bad. If any one of those aren't met, I feel bad. You have to say this, all these things, and then I get to feel good. And if any one of those are out, I feel bad. Is that a very intelligent way to wire your brain? No, but I got to tell you something. I hate to say 100% because I'm sure there must be an exception, but I've not seen one yet. From even the people that seem to be most happy, most successful. We're wired, most of us wired to have pain. And then we go into a relationship, business or personal. And we got all these rules, okay? And you got them. And we expect, number one, for the other person to know what the rules are and behave by them, even though we've never taught them to them. And we aren't even aware of what our own rules are, so how could we? Because most of them are unconscious, aren't they? All we know is we get pissed off when they get violated. And then we say, you should know. See, that doesn't work. So, the conversation about rules that I'd like to have with you this morning, I mean, I can do 5 days with you just on rules, so I'm going to try and keep it tight. What I would suggest is that we get an idea of what each other's rules are in the context of our relationship in business, at least. Like, what are your rules for doctors, staff? You have some rules, whether you say them or not. Doctors must what? What must they do? How must they be with you, with patients, right? And by the way, doctors, you have rules for your staff, and you probably haven't communicated them. You expect them to know them. Of course they know what it is. How must your staff do or be for you, for your patients? You also have rules for patients. Some of you get pissed off at your patients. Patients must what? They must come on time. They must be there. They must. And see, when our musts aren't met, we get rather perturbed, right? And you know what? Patients probably have a different set of rules for you. Patients' rules are, if I get there, then I should be helped. And you know what? When people have a rules clash, they have an upset. I want you to write this in your notes and remember this for the rest of your life. Every upset you've ever had or ever will have with another human being is a rules upset. Every upset you've ever had or you ever will have with another human being is a rules upset. You are not upset with a human being. You're upset with their rules because you have a different set of rules. So every upset you've ever had with another human being has been a rules upset.
Well, I think it's really important. First of all, it's great to be with you all here. I know you've had a full day, and I hope to add some real value to you in this brief time. I think it's really critical that you understand that everybody wants to grow their business, and we all go through different phases, right? Just like human beings go through phases. You know, you give birth to your business, and you're an infant, and an infant is a run for survival, and cash flow problems are a natural process in most cases, and you're running. Hopefully you get to a teenager where now cash flow is not a problem, you're growing like crazy, and then you have a new problem. You don't have systems in place. And maybe you get to young adult where you have to decide what you're not going to do. Eventually, hopefully you get to prime where you're growing your business revenues and you're growing your profits and you got a professional organization and you're not doing it. Because as long as you're doing it, really you don't have a business. What you have is you're self-employed. There's nothing wrong with being self-employed. But whenever you meet someone who's in business is stressed, they're always a business operator. And my focus is to become a business owner. How do you do that? You realize that the chokehold in the growth of your business is always the leader. And it's your skills and it's your psychology. And I found it's 80% psychology and 20% skills. You got to have the marketing skills. You got to be able to lead. You got to be able to recruit. You got to do all those things. But really, most importantly, you got to get through what I call the threshold of control. And this, to me, is the secret to really succeeding in business. And it's pretty simplistic. How many of you snowboard or ski? Anybody out there snowboard or ski? Give you a sense? So most people are terminally intermediate when they get into that sport, right? You know, they really never get that good. They're not really a belong. They're kind of in the middle, and they never get much better. And I think the reason is they never push themselves beyond what they can handle, right? You're used to greens or blues, and you find yourself on a double black, and what happens? Everything inside you freaks out because you're past what I call the threshold of control, your comfort zone. And you look down, you go, I could die doing this. So now you have two choices. Most people slam themselves on the ground, hang on for dear life, and try not to skid off the cliff. And at best what you do is survive, or a few people let go of their fear, no matter how scary it is, and goes, I got to go down this thing, and there's no other choice, and they focus on where they want to go instead of what they're afraid of. And they find a way to carve. And once you carve a few of them, that double black is your bitch, right? You don't have to worry about that anymore, right? And so that's what happens in business. So for me, I can remember going and starting my first business in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I got on a radio show. And this person, it was a shock radio show and I didn't know it. And they started attacking me and saying I'm a liar and a charlatan. You can't do these things. And this therapist called me up and said, you know what, I've dealt with people forever. You can't wipe out a phobia in less than an hour. It can take 7 years. I have a patient right now I've worked with for 7 years and I've been able to solve this. And I said, great, bring that patient tonight. I'm doing a free guest event at the Holiday Inn and I'll take care of that. It should take me 10 or 15 minutes. Right? and
you do it?
I did it. And I was able to do it. I wrapped a snake around this woman. She had a snake phobia. Phobia is an uncontrollable response. So because of that, I had people coming to these guest events like crazy, and I thought I hit the home run, right? And I did this big guest event. There was like 1,000 people there, which for me would be like, I don't know, 100,000 people in an event right now. And after I was done, a bunch of people signed up for my seminar because I did a free value-add event, and then I would invite them to come spend 3 days with me. And this man walks up to me, and he's from immigration. He goes, a great seminar. He goes, I'd like to see your work permit. And I said, what's a work permit, right? You know, when you're in beginning business, you don't know these things, right? He goes, well, to work in this country, you need a work permit. And he said, I'll tell you what, I got to see you tomorrow at 5:30. I goes, well, my seminar starts at 7. He goes, you'll be fine, just you got to be there at 5:30. He said, I'm not asking, it's a requirement. So I show up at 5:30. I wait for half an hour. Now I'm starting to stress. And finally I sit down with a guy and he says, you're taking away Canadian jobs. I said, how many Canadian firewalkers are there? Come on, that's what I was doing those days. And he said, no, you teach NLP skills, neuro-linguistic programming, and these people have classes of 20 people and you got a class of 500. And so they say you're taking jobs, so your event is over. So what do you mean your event's over? He goes, if you walk on that stage tonight, we will handcuff you and deport you. This is what I call a threshold of control. Right? He says, you're going to have to give the money back. I said, I can't give the money back. I spent all the money to put on the seminar. I wasn't a good businessman. I just wanted to help everybody, right? So I spent all the money to do it. And he goes, you have no money? Well, you're going to have to deal with that. So I walked out of the building. I have 40 minutes. People are going to arrive. I can't go on stage. What do you do? I told my 3 staff members, 2 of which were volunteers, what happened. They're like, and I said, here's what we're doing. I'm doing this seminar. And they said, you're going to go to jail. I said, I'm not going to jail. I said, how close is the border? True story. And they said, well, there's a place called Bellingham, Washington. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. I said, rent me 6 buses and I'll meet the people out front before they go in the hotels. It's not a problem. I met everybody up front. They said, this is a traveling seminar. It's a surprise, right?
We're going to Bellingham.
We're going to America. And it was a 3-day seminar. We had to go and come back each day and night for 3 days in a row. I got all but 4 people to agree to do it. And then I got to Bellingham, Washington at the Holiday Inn there, and there was like a bar mitzvah or a wedding or some stuff next door, and it was so loud you couldn't hear anybody. And so I said, just lie on the floor, close your eyes, I'm going to hypnotize you into this, right? You know? But so what happened was you learn how to get through that, right? And we learn how to be resourceful. When you realize that your problem is not a lack of resources, it's not a lack of money or technology or contacts, it's not. It's your psychology. Because the ultimate resource is resourcefulness. And human emotion, that's what starts wars, that's what makes a business begin, that's how you have children, that's how we end wars, it's all emotion. And so what I really learned to do is how to manage my emotions. So, you know, once you solve that one, the next one shows up. I started a franchise, and a couple franchisees were really upset when one of the people representing on my side said they didn't make things clear to them, and you know, it's all bullshit, but it cost me $5 million in 4 years. I thought the first one was like a $50,000 challenge. Now I got a $5 million challenge. And I took all the money I'd saved in my entire career to pay that off, and I was starting over again. And then I grew from that. And then I finally got, I had a partner in business, and long story short, they had a business that was losing $1 million a day, and he turned it around and making $1.8 billion in EBITDA. He offered me his partner, and I signed a document saying we're all joint and several. There was $40 million in debt. I figured I had $10 million of the debt to have $1.8 billion in infrastructure. And it turned out my partners, 2 of them were broke. They weren't billionaires. They had lost their money. And the other one was the son of a billionaire, and his dad had given him nothing, had $5 million to his name. So I was on the hook shortly after for $120 million when they didn't have $120 million. I figured out how to deal with that. By doing that, I eventually took my companies to this year will surpass $6 billion in 33 companies because I made it through the threshold of control. So I want you to know, when you see these big numbers by any entrepreneur, they all started with blocking and tackling, and they all started with how do I get both the skill and more importantly the psychology. You can get the skill if you can get that part of you that just doesn't die, the part of you that finds the way to add more value than anybody else so you can keep growing.
And whether we get pain or whether we get pleasure in any moment is not based on what happens, but our giving ourselves that pain or pleasure based upon our rules. See, this guy here gets to make himself feel pleasurable when he gets up and looks and sees above ground, because that's his rule. Could the other guy, who is the Fortune 50 CEO, could he wake up in the morning and feel pleasure? Yes or no? Could he physically? Yes or no? Why doesn't he? Because he has a set of rules that say, no, if you were to do that, if you were to give yourself pleasure like that, then you wouldn't really be giving yourself pleasure for the right reasons. Then you'd be stupid. You'd be doing dumb. You wouldn't achieve. So his rules say, if you're successful, you have to do this, this, and this, and that. The only determination whether you feel rules or not, whether you feel rather pain or not, is your rules. And I got to tell you something. Anytime you've been upset, there's been a rules violation. Either someone has violated your rules or you have violated your own rules. If you're feeling guilty, why do you feel that pain? Because you have a set of rules about how you're supposed to treat people, what you're supposed to do, and you violated your own rules. That's why you get pain. Now, some people don't feel guilty. How many have seen somebody do something you thought, I can't believe they don't feel guilty about that? I've never seen that happen. You know why? They would if they had whose rules? Yours. But they don't have your rules. They have a different set of rules. By the way, whose rules are the right rules? That's right. We all know our rules are the right rules. And by the way, did you sit down consciously and analyze the best possible rule I could have to enhance the quality of my life, my relationship with other people would be this? No. You've gotten your rules. You picked them up along the way, scooped them in here. You've gotten them from pain and pleasure and things that happen along the way. And they may not make any sense at all. So the first step around rules, the first thing to realize is that relationships, any upset in a relationship is a rules upset. So if I come to you and I say, Tony, what that happened, this thing happened, I just got to tell you, you and I just have different rules. I'm not upset with you, but I am upset with these damn rules because they don't work for me. You know? Now I know you don't want my rules either, but there's got to be some place in the middle where we can meet so that you and I can keep the great relationship we have. So I always come to Tony and say, hey, I got this bridge with you. Now, I'm not upset with you, but I'm pissed off about these rules. I'm annoyed by them. You know, I'm sure they work for you, but, give me some clarity. Why do you have those rules? What are you trying to do with that? Well, what if we can accomplish that this way? Could that work? Okay. Upsets are always rules upsets. Now, when you understand that, then what you need to do is you need to be able to identify the rules in advance. I'll give you an example. How many of you have gotten in a game with somebody and you thought you were playing by the same rules? The game could be a relationship. The game could be a sport. Let's try sport as an example. And after you're playing a sport for a while, all of a sudden, you feel like the other person's making up rules. How do you respond when you think they're making up rules? How do you feel? Yeah, you assume that means they're cheating. Now, by the way, is it possible they're not making up rules? They're playing by the rules they've always had? Yes or no? Yeah, but they're not your rules, so he must be making them up, or she must be making them up. Now, here's how it works. Let's say you and I go say, we're going to go play baseball together. Okay. Well, we go to play baseball. I'll say, well, you know how to play. You play baseball like American style? Yeah. 3 outs. How many innings? We're going to play 6. Okay. Catch the ball, you're out. That kind of thing. No problem. Great. So you jump in the game. We're in a relationship. I get up there. Everything's going great. We're playing. The game seems to be working great for about, 5 innings. But in the 6th inning, we say we're going to play 6th. I have 1 man on, 1 out. And I had a high pop fly. Now, as I do that, it's in the infield. My brain says, I better run, because if he drops it, I'm safe. And if I'm safe, my guy will score, I win the game. Right? Does that make sense? If he drops it, now if he catches it, I'm what? I'm out. How many would agree with that? Raise your hand. Okay, great, good.
There's no secret to success. There's a system to success. And no matter what organization you become a part of, the system works if you work it. If you don't work it, it won't work. But it works if you work it. And that's one 4-letter word that most people don't like. They're not willing to work.
So I studied these people and they mentored to me. I feel their spirits. I surrounded myself in my bed with their books and their audio, in my imagination, and listening to their audio programs. Yes. So how much does the library card cost? It's free in the United States. I don't know what in your country. So I suggest that you spend time working on yourself. Study the high achievers. I did that to find out how did they get there. I studied the life of Frederick Douglass, who said we won't get everything that we fight for, but everything we get, it will be a fight.
And so the first rule for a monumental life is simply lead or lead thyself, which just means See yourself as a leader. And don't wait for the people around you to start leading. Lead where you're planted. Lead by example. You stand up first. Be an army of one when it comes to leadership and spreading that leadership possibility around you.
Training them. So public speaking, rock climbing, if you want to get good at rock climbing, or you want to get over that fight or flight response when you get out, go rock climbing. You'll get used to it. You scared of heights, go start parachuting. You'll get used to it. You're scared of the water, get worked up and go through swimming and then become scuba certified. Just the things that you're not comfortable with, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And while you're doing them too. While you're doing them, pay attention.
Things inevitably get better for people. So it's not a luxury, it's difficult. It's a moral responsibility, and it isn't happiness. It's not, the pursuit isn't for happiness.
It's a moral responsibility to pursue what is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anh hay mơ mộng mình thức xa xôi, không màng về tình ái muôn nơi, sống cho là tròn kiếp đây thôi, đâu quan tâm gì chuyện đời. Thế mà lại ngâm tương tư, ông tầm bà mũi xe tơ, đêm nằm trộm nhớ mơ mơ về ai. Thì ra anh yêu rồi, từ ánh mắt nụ cười, từ đôi môi gọi mưa sao xuyến lòng anh. Thì ra mê em rồi, ngày hay đêm ôm lời, chỉ nghĩ đến em thôi, đó là do anh đã yêu rồi, anh đã yêu rồi, anh đã yêu rồi. Anh đã yêu rồi, anh đã yêu rồi, anh đã yêu em mất rồi. Anh ai mơ mộng về những thứ xa xôi, không màng về tình ái muôn nơi. Sống cho là trọn kiếp đây thôi, đâu quan tâm gì chuyện đời. Thế mà lại nằm tương tư, ông tầm bà mối xa tơ. Đêm nằm trộm nhớ mơ mơ về ai.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string.